Good afternoon, kings and queens, and welcome to Believe in Yourself Tuesday. I'm your host, Lakina Folks. Election for the next mayor of Detroit is November 2nd, 2021. And with us today, we have one of the write-in candidates, Kiawana Brown, known as the People's Mayor. With only 1 week left before election, Kiawana continues her journey to show Detroiters how she will build the city God's way, by putting God first and adding value to the people. We'll be back to hear more about her platform and the issues she's fighting to change right after this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Believe. Yourself. You can't speak for nobody else. There's nothing you cannot achieve. Believe.
Well, welcome to Believe in Yourself Tuesday, Kiawana Brown. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and congratulations on your write-in candidacy for mayor.
Thank you.
That is absolutely just amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, you are a wife, mom, entrepreneur, businesswoman, pastor, apostle, and you're a community leader as well. And you have your own nonprofit organization. How did running for mayor of Detroit get added to this list? We all want to know.
I know, tell me too. Well, so truthfully, I've been called to government for years now. It's been about maybe 15 years. So I always tell people I didn't just get up one day and decide, let me run for mayor. This is something, as far as mayor, I didn't know that piece, but I always knew I was called to government. And when I was led back to the city of Detroit in 2014, I knew it was for city politics because the Lord made it so clear that we were to be in the city of Detroit, and so I knew it had to do with the city politics. And so last year in prayer, I was asking the Lord, what was our purpose for being in the city? I was just really asking, and that's when the whole mayor thing came about. And so I was shocked, but then again, I wasn't, because like I said, I've known for 15 years that I was called to government, didn't know what capacity, didn't know what that was going to look like, when, how, but I knew it was happening, and I knew I was in Detroit for government, for governmental purposes, to be in city politics. And so when I received the assignment, like I said, it was kind of shocking to me too initially, but I grabbed a hold to it, and I've been running with the vision ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amen. So
Yeah.
you was obedient
Yeah,
to the Spirit
absolutely.
of God. Amen.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
has it been hard running for mayor while you're trying to balance everything else that you do?
I wouldn't say hard, but it is, because I'm the kind of person, because I wear so many hats and do different things, and so when I have a task, I get right in it. Once I decide to get in it, I get in it, and I get in the flow, and I just do it. And so, but it's definitely a sacrifice, because you have to sacrifice something in order to pick up something else. You got to sacrifice something. And so, my family had a lot of long, late nights and things like that. And even me being up throughout the night, finishing up work and things like that. And so it's definitely a great responsibility, and too much is given, much is required. And so there has been sacrifices for sure, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's really hard, but it's been a great responsibility for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that it could be harder to run for mayor as being a woman?
Well, not necessarily in today's climate. Maybe years ago, I would say that. But, our vice president is a female, and so things are, you have women running major companies and CEOs and things like that. And so in today's time, it's not as difficult as I believe that it would have been, in times before. Across the United States, we have 9 women that are running large metropolitan cities. Locally, we have, I know, at least 4, maybe even 5 that are female mayors locally in the state of Michigan. And so, and then people have been speaking about it's time for Detroit to have a female mayor, because we've never had a female mayor in the city of Detroit. And so people have written up articles articles about it. They've been talking about it. And so, and you know, a lot of people, I'm received with excitement because I am a woman running for mayor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, are you the only woman on the ballot this year?
Well, so for write-in, I'm not. I know there's at least one more lady as a write-in candidate.
Okay.
Because I'm a write-in, so I'm not on the ballot for the general election. So that means you got to write me in for the win. But there is another that I know of, at least one, maybe two. But I think it's two that's running. That's a write-in candidate as well too.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So by it also being majority men on the ballot, do you find it to be a little bit challenging going into that office? Being a woman, do you feel maybe a little intimidated, or maybe the men, because how men are?
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah.
How are you taking on that whole challenge there?
Yeah. Not at all. I was at a birthday party at Sinbad's the other day, and a guy looked at me, and I can't remember the question, but he was asking me, I think, are you serious or something? I said, am I serious? And he said, are you serious? Or something he kept asking me. And then he said, are you really, willing to take on Doug? And I said, I wouldn't be in a race if I wasn't. I said, so I'm absolutely willing to take him on. And I'm also expecting to win as well.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And so he shook my hand after that. And so, but, I walk in because I know my purpose. I know I'm not doing it. Like I said, I didn't just wake up and decide this is something I want to do. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have never decided to do this if it was up to me, But this is something that I truly believe that I have been assigned to be the mayor of the city of Detroit for such a time as this. And so I assume it and I'm walking in it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're purpose driven
Yeah.
with that thing.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping you going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So you call yourself the people's mayor, and that you're going to build the city God's way. Tell us what building the city God's way really means.
Okay. So my vision for the city of Detroit is I see us being a world-class city. Globally known, and of course we know that we're already globally known, but globally known around the world for the good and not for the bad,
Right.
So globally known and highly sought after for our wisdom and our expertise. I see people coming, I can imagine, I literally see people coming from near, from far to see what we're doing in the city of Detroit to have made such a drastic turnaround in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And so how do you build a world-class city? By building it God's way. And people say, well, what is God's way? God's way is simple. It's making sure that you put people first, that you take care of people, that when you create policies, laws, systems, that they're designed with fairness, equity, justice, and even righteousness. And righteousness is simply doing what's right. And so making sure that those are the pillars of our city government, that the government is ran upon. It has to be just, it has to be fair, equitable, and righteous. And when you do that, you're going to always make sure that you design everything. I mean, everybody wins in that kind of environment because we're making sure that we're doing what's best for everybody, not just some people, but for everybody to be able to thrive and build their lives in our growing metropolis. And so that's what God's way is. It's not taking the city and turning it into a church, but it's doing right by people. That's God's way.
That's
taking care of people. God's heart is people.
Yeah.
And so he's about fairness. He's about justice. He's about taking care of the downtrodden. He's about doing what's right, and not all this corruption and crazy stuff that we see a lot of times in politics. And so that's simply, again, and righteousness is doing what's right.
Yeah, doing it God's way.
Yeah, doing it His way.
And a world class. I like that. Just
world class.
having it a world class.
Yeah, I see us being a model city that people will literally want to fashion their city after our city because they're going to see that drastic turnaround in such a short period of time, because now you have God in His rightful place over the city, because God is involved. He's the one who established government, and people. And this nation was founded, one nation. Under who?
God.
Under God, and we've gotten away from that. But when we put Him back in His rightful place in government, then we'll see government start to take a change, and we'll see government where people actually enjoy their leadership and their government officials.
That's so good. That's exciting to see. And it's also, how in the scriptures talk about how the last will be first. For so long Detroit was the last, still
absolutely.
kind of the last,
but
you can turn it around and make it the first by being
Absolutely.
that world class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
World class, high class too.
Yeah.
They'll say, what's in Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
So there are many people in the city who do have many different religions. So do you run into people having a problem with you talking about God, or are people accepting of it?
interestingly, they're very accepting. Actually, a lot of people don't even bring that up. But when I give out flyers and when they read God's Way, obviously believers or Christians get excited about that. They say, okay, building it God's way. The funny thing, I even found people who don't really necessarily serve God like that or live their lives for God. They get excited about it as well too. So it's been interesting, people who are not necessarily church folks or stuff like that, or followers of Christ, they get excited about, they understand the importance of doing it God's way. And so they've even given me really good feedback as well too. So surprisingly, because that's a bold stance to put on everything, on my website, on my social media pages, on my flyers. And, but I'm doing it because that's how I received it, and I know that he's the one who has called me to this. And so, and this is the only way that it can be done. It's going to make any sense. When you look at, I don't know, we do stuff a lot of times and we just do it because we do it, but people don't necessarily pay attention to everything. But downtown, right in front of the City Hall building, we got the Spirit of Detroit. In one hand, you have the family, which is lower, and then you have the big ball with the light coming out of it. That ball represents divinity, and that light is really the light that shines from the presence of God. And it was the architect who built that. It was funny because he said where he was going to put the family was going to be a ship there, speaking to the trade and the international trade in the city of Detroit. But obviously was led to put family right there and showing how God's Spirit illuminates and shines through the families that are in the city of Detroit. And then right behind that, there's a scripture embedded in the wall as well that says, the Lord is that Spirit, and when the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And so they understood, the importance of of having God involved in government. And that's right at the City Hall, on our building. And so, but it's just the right way. When you do it the right way, your city thrive, people thrive, and then the city is healed, and lives are restored. People, there's a lot of healing that needs to take place in the city of Detroit. And I see it every day. The more, since I've been involved on this side, you see stuff that you're not, naturally exposed to. And so there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. And again, if we do it the right way, that can happen.
Right, doing it the right way, in God's way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely the woman up for the job.
Thank you.
Yes. So one of the issues that we're fighting is change in the crime here. So for Detroit, it's been so many years that we've had a bad reputation for violence, crime, all of that. So you're saying, you're going to fight to decrease the crime and promote safety. What will you do as mayor to actually change that? Yeah.
So for those that don't know, the city of Detroit, we have been for the past 2 years, 2019 and 2020, the largest, not the largest, but the number one most violent city in the United States of America. And so one thing for sure, we have definitely been known for crime throughout the years, even gaining the title murder capital, of the world. And so, which is a terrible title to even, have or embrace. But it came about because of all of the crime in the city of Detroit. But when you look at crime, it's not just murder. Murder is one: homicide, manslaughter, rape, robbery, and even violent assault crimes. And so we have been number one the past 2 years. And the way we're going now, every time you turn around, babies get shot. You see the 2-year-old that got killed on the freeway. One killing after another, and it just doesn't stop. And it's our young people that are really being impacted by it. They're losing their lives, and so we definitely need to do something about that. And we're trending in that way now. I wouldn't be surprised if the new data would show that for 2021 that we are number one for 2021 as well too. So that's something that we definitely, I hear that. That's one of the things that people bring up. What are you going to do about, the crime, how making the streets safer? And so I'm passionate about that. I was at my son's football game, and while we were out there, it was on the news, you guys probably saw it. They play football for Cubs, Westside Cubs, and we were at their benefit game. And while we were out there, over 1,000 people in attendance, shots just rang out. And they were, I was actually out there putting my flyers on cars, and I was talking to people, and all of a sudden we heard shots, and families are screaming, kids are running. It was just, it was it was bad. It was really bad. And then what happened was, while I was right there, four young black guys ran past me, one with an AR-15 in his hand.
Wow.
And ran off into the field and then ducked off. And then we heard more shots rang out as well, too. And it was like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that were shot that day out there at the actual event. Right after that, I was taking my boys to a park. And we come, as soon as I pull up, I said, well, I don't know about going to this park because sometimes it's a hit and miss in the city. You know, the park I normally go to was closed. We pull up, and sure enough, you had a bunch of young folks outside with the cameras out, the phones out recording, and they were out there fighting. And you know, people was laughing at it. And me, who I am, I jumped out, and my son in the car, like, get back in the car, get back out. And I'm like, I jumped out and, you know, stop that. And, you know, I'm hollering at the kids and telling them we got to get it together. So eventually they got it together and went on ahead and pulled off. And so, but we got to attack this area. And so there's a few things, because when you look at violence springs from many different areas. It can spring from mental illness. It can spring from, one of the biggest contributors is poverty. 40% of our population is in poverty. And so, being that we have a lot of poverty in the city of Detroit, you also have high crime in the city of Detroit as well, too. You know, it springs even from growing up in homes where you see violence and things like that. People repeat what they see. You know, growing up in communities where there's a lot of violence, they repeat what they see. And so, we got to attack it. And I think that it's not just a one way to attack it. It doesn't just fall on the police by itself. We need to get involved as a community. And so when I say getting everybody involved as a community to attack this issue that's been plaguing our city, we need to go into the schools. First of all, we need to educate our young people. You know, you got to teach them a different way. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he get older, he won't depart. Go on the school systems and start teaching them a different way, because they only know what they know. You know, and so we got to teach them how to properly diffuse situations and conflict resolution from a healthy standpoint. Bring in mentorship, you know, into schools and things like that. Not just some schools, but every school, from elementary all the way up to high school. We need to make sure that we teach them, going into the neighborhoods where they're at, and making sure we're teaching our young people a different way, different alternatives to violence. Because a lot of times we're reactive. We wait until issues happen and then we throw them into prison. If we become more proactive, we can stop the issues before they happen.
That's a good plan.
Or decrease them before they happen. But even from a governmental standpoint, from our office, we need to have a certain portion of the budget, even if it's a small portion, allocated. This one organization reached out to me and they asked me, how would you fund peace? I thought that was so amazing, but we need to have a portion of the budget allocated where we're funding peace, where we're making sure that we are allocating monies into the city to different grassroots organizations. You have a lot of grassroots organizations that are very involved in these different areas, and they out there working just as hard as police officers to bring down crime in their communities. Well, we need to be able to support those type of grassroots organizations, you know, and of course we got to make sure that our policing has adequate funding. Governor Whitmore just came out with, well, since the ARP funds have come into Detroit, it gives us access to so many millions of dollars, but I think it's about $32 million that she set aside for to prevent crime and to reduce crime reduction. And one of the things she wants to focus on is, with that $32 million that was set aside out of the larger amount, is to make sure that the police officers and things like that have adequate training, and also that we have enough officers. That's another problem. A lot of the officers are not there. We've cut our staff in half tremendously, so we got to make sure that we have enough officers to make sure that we can get the job done, because we got more crime and not enough people to be able to go out there and fight it, you know. And so making sure that we have enough funding for staffing, for training, and also for good proper working equipment as well too. And then community policing. We need to get the police out in the community. I remember I was out in the summertime over on the east side, 48205, which is known as the deadliest zip code in the city of Detroit. And I was over there, and I was at a block club party, and I was over there with some seniors and just having a good time with them. When I pulled up, some officers that are assigned to that area were sitting outside at the block club party having a good time with the civilians and the Detroiters out there, and I thought that was so amazing. We need to see more of that, because it's so much civil unrest in the world right now, and you got a lot of people who just don't trust law enforcement nowadays, and so we need to bridge that gap and bring the community and also the officers, together, where we can see some, healing take place.
Yeah.
And so I think if we even incorporate more community policing, where we're uniting the people and the officers together, then we can see a turnaround in crime as well too.
That's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
you said a lot there, and some
Yeah.
good plans,
Yeah.
from the schools, the
Yeah.
communities. That
Yeah.
is really good, and if that could be implemented, that
Yeah.
can be a lot of change.
Yeah.
And then how you even said that you saw the situation going on at the park.
Oh, yeah.
And so you got out and diffused it
I did. Yeah.
and stopped what was going
Yeah.
going on there.
Yeah.
So just your presence there
Yeah.
in just that park.
Yeah.
What more would you do to the whole city?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they received you like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that speaks volumes.
Yeah, and what was so disturbing about that park situation, a little boy, I mean, he probably was under 15 years old.
Wow.
When they went to jump in the car, out of his mouth, I told you over at the West Side Cubs field, the boy ran past me with an AR-15. When he went and jumped in the car, he said, let's go get the AR. He was less than 15 years old. Now, this situation was so minute. It really wasn't. It was just for entertainment. They were fighting, basically. But he was ready to go get the AR because they just don't think and they don't understand. Just one bad decision can change the whole trajectory of your life forever and send you down a terrible path that you don't want to go down. And so just thinking just for a moment, but this is what they see on TV. This is what they hear in the rap music, this is what they in their neighborhoods. This is who they look up to, their role models and mentors in their neighborhood, the neighborhood dope boy and all this other stuff. It's just a different way to do things. And so we, the people, have to take an initiative and make sure that we get involved and be more proactive versus reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's something, I tell
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what will the city uniquely gain from you as mayor, other than being on the candidate on the ballot?
Okay. I would say, again, the biggest thing is with me doing it the way that I'm coming to build the city, which again is building it God's way. That's not happening right now in the city of Detroit, and just really having a heart for the people. I tell people all day long, me being the people's mayor is not just a slogan. As a matter of fact, it isn't. It's who I am. I've been in public service for nearly 2 decades now. I'm used to serving people. I have a passion for serving people and seeing people's lives transformed. And so, I think I bring a uniqueness to that because my passion is really for the people and seeing, not pushing my own agenda or any special interest group or, making my pockets fat off of the citizens, but to make sure that we do what's right by the people. And like I said, doing it a way that it hasn't been done before and making sure that we do it, and that's by doing it God's way. Being bold enough about that because again, another part I left out when I talked about crime is getting the church involved. The church has to be involved as well too, in bringing down that issue with crime as well too in our cities. So I think just that piece in itself, being willing to say, hey, we need God's help, and then we got to come together and work collectively as a city to build our city and to build a strong foundation.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, if you win for mayor in November, how do you think your life will change?
You know what? Well, drastically for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been in public service and serving the people for years. And it's funny because I remember when it first came to me, I'm like, Lord, I'm not even, a lot of people don't like politics. And I was one of those people that don't like politics, or didn't like politics. I'm like, I'm not. But you had to show me that again, politicians are put in place really to make sure that whether the city from a local, state, or federal standpoint, national standpoint, that things are governed well, that the people are governed well. And so when he had to show it to me from a different position, a different place, I said, oh, okay, well, that's what I'm about anyway. That's what I like to do anyway. And so, but I mean, I see it changing, but it's something that I'm already passionate about, which is people and seeing people's lives, transform and seeing their lives for the better. And so, but I definitely, see a drastic change for sure. Because me and which I didn't mention about, I'm giving no background information about myself, but me and my husband are pastors too, and so even changing, I mean, that I'm still who I am in that arena. However, but it's going to be a difference because now my focus has been placed in a different direction. Yeah.
And then the ministry will be enlarged as well, because then, you've mayored and everybody wants
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Come and, even for the kids, they're going to be popular now.
Right. Right.
So if there's not a win for you in November, will you run again?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, like I said, this is not my idea. If it was up to me, I wouldn't even be doing it. It's not my idea. However, I know that this is what God has said. I know I'm called to government for such a time as this, and timing is everything, And so, if it didn't happen, then I know that this was for preparation for what's to come, and so I know that it's definitely going to happen when God says it's going to happen. So I definitely will run again.
Yes. Now you got that the title, the People's Mayor. Where did that come from?
You know what? I just, again, even building the city God's way, all that stuff, that's just what I received in my spirit. So all that, Kiawana Brown, the People's Mayor, had come. I had received that. It just came to me, and I was like, okay. Absolutely, that's it, because that's who I am. I was at Baby Backs, which is a restaurant on 7 Mile and right off of Livernois, and I was there. It's a soul food restaurant. They have really good food, but they're avid supporters of me. And so when I was there, they give me an opportunity to talk to, and they're always busy. So I was talking to the people, and at the end of meeting one lady, she said, "Well, this is what I would tell people about you." And she ran off a list of things. She said, "But I would tell them that you're personable." That you take out time to listen to the people and respond. And she went on, she gave me, and just off of, I think we probably talked about maybe 5 minutes or so, but she regurgitated to me her feelings about, because she said she was going to spread the news and she was going to let people know about me. And when she talked about me, this is what she's going to say. And one of the things she said is that she's personable. I've showed up in neighborhoods from East Side, West Side, Southwest Detroit, all over the place, and people say, it's admirable that I see you, because normally we see representatives, but we don't see the actual candidate. And because we see you, you got my vote because you showed up. I would be out there with my campaign manager, and she was like, "You're just so good at this. You just really." She said she said you just take the time, and she said, "I don't care how long." She says, because sometimes people will have you there forever, and she was like, "You just talk to them and reassure them and give them what they ask you for and stuff like that." And so she said, it's just amazing. Like, you're just perfect for this. And so. So that's why I'm the People's Mayor, though.
I can see that. That's awesome. So do you have any rallies coming up where people can hear you speak in person?
So I'm looking at this Saturday, actually, and so unfortunately I'm considering the Northwest Activity Center. More so would be a meet and greet for the people to be able to come out, and also for me to get some people who want to volunteer. I meet people all the time who's interested in volunteering, and so for people to be able to come to one place and we can sign them up for volunteering opportunities, especially for the upcoming election. There's so many polls. There's like over 500 polls throughout the city of Detroit. Some are more popular than others. Some have more traffic than others, but getting people at the polls on Tuesday, November 2nd for election. And so for people to be able to get to know me more, ask questions and things of that sort, I'm looking at about 12 or 1 o'clock, but I have to call them to solidify to see if it's available. I will have that information online on my website and also my social media platform. So people will be able to go on there to check that out. But I do want to do like a meet and greet to be able to connect with the people and, let them ask me questions and things like that.
Okay, awesome. And then just give out your social media, websites, and all that where they can connect with you at.
Right. Okay, so again, I'm Brown the People's Mayor. Everything is Brown the People's Mayor. My website is brownthepeoplesmayor.com, www.brownthepeoplesmayor.com. My social media, Facebook and Instagram, is Brown the People's Mayor. Again, you can find me on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Brown the People's Mayor. I'm on Twitter, but I don't have a lot of engagement. I'm terrible with the Twitter, but you'll see more interaction on Facebook and Instagram for Brown the People's Mayor. But like the page, share it, follow me. I got some videos out there where you can hear more about what my platform and things of that sort. But yeah, stay involved, get involved and stay engaged. My phone number is 313-284-4440. Again, 313-284-4440. You can call that campaign number and get connect with us, because I would love to have you and love to meet with you and love to connect with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kiawana Brown, for being on the show today. It has been an absolute pleasure having you
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations. Yes, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
You're doing some phenomenal things.
Thank you.
You know, I can see you definitely being mayor.
Yeah.
You have it. You
Thank
got the
you.
look. You just got it all.
Thank you.
You know,
I
and you
appreciate
are
that.
a people's person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
November 2nd, you're in
November
Detroit.
2nd.
Writing candidate Kiawana Brown. And before you leave, just give the audience something, some hope about believing in themselves, because surely it also took you believing in you to have that confidence to walk in to say, hey, I'm running for mayor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell you, there's a scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I'm telling you, who you see today is not who I used to be. I share on my platforms, but 4 years after graduating from high school, I found myself in the basement on the city's east side, and my life was flashing before my eyes. I was literally about to check out. I had got in a domestic violence relationship and was in it for 5 years, and that relationship almost cost me my life. And the reason why many times we do things because we don't know who we are. You know, once I learned who I was and who I am, and I learned my identity, and that identity truly was found in Christ, my life completely transformed. And so I'm telling you, if anybody can, if I could do it, anybody can do it. I used to be, I hated public speaking. I would have rather jumped off a cliff before I got in front of people and talked to people and things like that. I absolutely hated it. But over the years, different things and different businesses and things like that led me to what I'm doing now. And so I'm telling you, all things are possible. Where you at right now, if that's not where you want to be, your life can definitely change. But it takes you first believing in you. You have to believe that you can do it, and you have to believe that all things are possible. I'm telling you, my life is a completely different. It's completely different from how I started. It's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. And enjoy the journey. Make the investment in you, and always believe in yourself, because you can do it.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you, Kings and Queens, for joining me on today for Believe in Yourself Tuesday. As our guest, Mrs. Kiawana Brown, the People's Mayor, said, as a man thinketh, so is he. Is what you think about yourself is what you believe. So if you believe in yourself that you can do it, then you can do it.
That's right.
All you have to do is put your mind to it.
Yeah.
You know, and as I always say, everything you need is right there inside of you. All you have to do is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in you.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week. I hope you have an amazing week. And remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Lakina Folks, where you can be involved in our believers community.